distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening. Yang berhormat, Dato' S.K. Ragamani, Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Ms. Annette Dixon, World Bank Country Director, Southeast Asia, ladies and gentlemen, Selamat datang. On behalf of the World Bank and the Economic Planning Unit of the Prime Minister's Department, I would like to warmly welcome you to the launch of the 2011 Malaysia Economic Monitor Brain Drain. The Malaysia Economic Monitor is a biannual surveillance product of the World Bank which detail out recent macro developments and challenges as well as the medium-term prospects of the country. To begin the event today, allow me to welcome to the podium Ms. Annette Dixon, World Bank Country Director, Southeast Asia, to present her opening remarks.
The Deputy Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure today to present the Malaysian Economic Monitor for April 2011. This, as the lady who was introducing us said, this is a 6-monthly report which is a part of a relatively new series that we've started here in Malaysia, producing reports twice a year on issues related to the development of the economy in Malaysia. Now, excuse me for a play on words, but the World Bank is has a language of its own, and it always reduces words down to acronyms. So when Malaysia got its new economic model, the NEM, we got our MEM. So we have the Malaysian Economic Monitor. So, excuse me, but I couldn't resist. But we think the Malaysian Economic Monitor is a very similar product to one which we produce in a number of countries in the region, including also regularly in Thailand. And in these reports we try to do two things. First, to report on both developments, recent developments in the economy, and also to look at challenges and the forecasts for the coming months and years. But we also try to focus on topics which are of strategic and significant importance to the development of the economy. Now, here in Malaysia, we've very much focused these reports around aspects of Malaysia's challenge and its goal of becoming a high-income country by 2020. And so our reports are very much focused on how Malaysia can develop its economy further to achieve its goal. Now, along those lines, we've produced, this is the third of the series which we started in 2009. The other two reports focused on innovation and inclusive growth, two very important aspects of Malaysia's development. And we're very pleased today in a special topic in this report to be focusing on brain drain. A very important topic, one which I think is the subject of a lot of discussion and a lot of anecdote, but perhaps not a lot of hard data. And we have tried, as you'll see in the presentation, to really dig deeper into the challenges with respect to brain drain, both its benefits and its costs, because it's not all a cost. In some respects, there's a lot to be gained from the brain drain if you see it in a positive sense. So with that, it's my pleasure to open this presentation. I'd like, before I do, to give our special thanks to the staff and the Minister of the Economic Policy Unit, Tan Sri Noor, couldn't be here today, but he is represented by the Deputy Minister, who've been our counterparts. But I'd also like to thank ISIS, who've also helped to pull together this presentation. The last thing I should say is this is an independent report commissioned by the World Bank. In that sense, we see it as a public good product. We hope that it will provide an informed basis for policy discussion and policy development here in Malaysia. And in that sense, I think it's different from some of the other reports that we do, which are often commissioned directly by our counterparts in each country. So with that, I'd like to hand over to the Deputy Minister, who's going to make some opening remarks as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anna Dixon. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are honoured that Yang Berhormat Dato' S.K. Devamani has been able to grace the launch ceremony of the Malaysia Economic Monitor with his presence. It is my privilege to invite Yang Berhormat Dato' to the stage to present his official address.
Thank you very much to the Master of Ceremony. Good evening. Ms. Anna Dixon, World Bank Country Director, Southeast Asia. Yang berbahagia Dato' Muhammad Noor Nawi, the Deputy Director General 1 for EPU. Madam Nuraini Ibrahim, the Director of Corporate Services International Section. And of course Mr. Phillips Shulkins, the Senior Economist World Bank. Members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Salam Satu Malaysia and good afternoon. Ms. Anna, Salam Satu Malaysia is a new greeting coined by my Prime Minister. Very interesting. It's a greeting that encompasses every race in this country. Salam One Malaysia, something like that. Salam is good morning, good evening, something like that. You know? So I think you should use this everywhere. No? Thank you very much. Sorry, I had to do that because I saw some serious participants here. Didn't want to smile. So bring down a little bit and make them loosen up so that we can enjoy our session today. Ladies and gentlemen, you must know that I have to read the speech because I'm representing my minister who's with the Chinese Premier. I'm so sorry he couldn't make it today. It's an important event between Malaysia and China. And we are very happy to have the Premier here, and this is opening a new dimension to our bilateral relationship. And you know, China is emerging as a powerful economic power, and this synergy is going to be good for this region and for this country. And I shall now stand in for him and say a few words on behalf of the Government and Economic Planning Unit. Let me first welcome everyone for this launching of the Malaysian Economic Monitor, Brain Drain. Very interesting topic. And in Parliament I have been too many times questioned about this. I'm sure Mr. Johan, who is here with the Talent Corp man, will share with me. He's my good friend. We always share these thoughts together. This is the fourth issue of the Malaysian Economic Monitor, where previous issues highlighted the inclusive growth in November 2010, growth through innovation in April 2010, and repositioning for growth in November 2009. For this current issue, the brain drain theme is highlighted and indeed relevant in this era of globalization and cross-border mobility of human capital. Although brain drain has long been a subject of much debate and controversy, few studies have actually been documented. The last one I answered in Parliament was supposed to be 2000 by the International Labour Organization, which saw about 700,000 Malaysians living. And after this, I'm sure Mr. Phillips will come and throw some light to this, and you'll be very interested in that. Distinguished guests, Malaysia has set a target of becoming a high-income and advanced country by the year 2020. To achieve this target, new policy initiatives, strategies and programs has to be outlined in the new economic model and the 10th Malaysia Plan, which are currently being implemented. In addition, structural transformation, an innovative and creative workforce, and a large-scale private investment will become the other key ingredients to realize this aspiration. Malaysia has less than 10 years to pursue this quest. In this regard, successful implementation of the new economic model and the 10th Malaysia Plan is critical to set the stage for the major transformation. The 10th Malaysia Plan emphasizes the importance of re-energizing the private sector and the need to address the issues of human capital. Currently, we are actively pursuing the implementation of the 10th Malaysia Plan initiatives as well as the development projects under the first rolling plan. The development agenda for 5-year plans have been modified for this 10th Malaysia Plan. Every year there is going to be a review of projects review of resources, review of directions. Now the process is going on from all the ministries and the other agencies. And this is good. But previously we'll do the project en bloc for the whole 5 years. We'll do a midterm review. The reviews are done every year now on the needs, because the globe is becoming so volatile and so dynamic in nature. What is going to happen today may not be the order the year after. Okay, we saw the economic crisis in the Western world, the financial crisis, which had so much impact in this region's economy. And suddenly you see in Japan a natural catastrophe that saw also a great impact on the economy. So these things are very unpredicted. So I think it has to be the rolling plan concept. It's a very new innovative concept. Preparation work for the second rolling plan is already underway for 2012. So this is how it's moving. The need for a major transformation is also reflected in the new economic model through the introduction of the Economic Transformation Program, ETP, acronym, according to Miss Anna Dixon, acronyms. We love acronyms here, you know. The ETP has highlighted 131 entry point projects, EPPs, and 60 business opportunities under the 12 National Key Economic Areas, NKAA, to boost private investments and create 3.3 million jobs. To date, 70 projects within 54 EPPs amounting to 106.4 billion ringgit Malaysia has been announced by the Honorable Prime Minister. People are telling, are you sure it's going to happen? You know? Those who want to wait can wait, but those who believe will know that it's going to move. The commitments are there. The Prime Minister is putting his leadership in front to say that this is what I'm going to deliver, and he's on the way to do so. The highway is set, and we need to perceive it with a very open and very dynamic mind. These projects are expected to create almost 300 job opportunities. In addition, as a result of the new economic model labs, clear and concrete new economic model action plans will be released by the Prime Minister in due course. So the 131 will not be the final list. It's going to be a dynamic list. It's going to come every 1-2 months as investments come in. To become a high income and advanced economy, Malaysia needs to achieve economic growth of at least 6% per annum over the 10 remaining years until 2020. To achieve this target, the source of growth is expected to be contributed by total factor productivity at 38.5%, capital 37.5%, and labor will be 24%. So that will be the yardstick. In terms of expenditure, the private sector will become the engine of growth for the nation. Then if you look into the 454 billion of capitalization that has got to be generated through these private investments, through these investments, only 8% will come from the government. 32% will come from GLCs. The rest will be generated by the private sector. So that is the composition that has been charted out. For too long, the country has depended on the public sector, where it is not sustainable moving forward considering the fiscal situation that the government is facing. As such, the 10th Malaysia Plan requires private investments to expand at 12.8% per annum, or 115 billion per year ringgit Malaysia. In this regard, a number of initiatives have been undertaken by the Special Task Force to facilitate business, or PERMUDA, to mobilize private sector investments. Other initiatives include the liberalization of 27 service subsectors, allowing foreign investors unrestricted market access with 100% equity, the corporatization of MIDA, which has become the Malaysian Investment Development Authority, that gives it full empowerment to make decisions expeditiously and coordinate all other investment promotion agencies for the manufacturing and service sectors. Weekly Economic Council meetings to examine private sector projects that is viable to be implemented through the PFI PPP and the establishment of the Investment Committee of Economic Transformation Program to identify and monitor investment programs that were identified under the 10th Malaysia Plan. Believe me, the PM chairs this meeting every Monday. And whatever project comes, they discuss thoroughly, they move on. There's no problems of bureaucracy. If it is viable and it's good for the nation, I think it's moving on. So the country is very open now for you to come and suggest. And where to suggest, already clearly outlined in the ETPs. Where the 12 sectors are there, which are the areas we're going to focus on, where you can focus. And with this also we have the corridor development, which has been given the muscles to make decisions. Of course, MIDA will coordinate. But Northern Corridor, I've seen massive investments by their own efforts. The Eastern Corridor, Iskandar itself is now becoming a very important investment hub besides Singapore. And of course, Sabah Development Corporation and SCOR, Sarawak Corridor for Renewable Energy. With all this coming together under the EC, I think we are moving in the right direction. With a real GDP growth of 6% per annum, we expect to create at least about 1.5 million jobs, in which 71% will be in the skilled category, such as senior officials and managers, professionals and technicians and associate professionals. The share of skilled employment is expected to increase from 28% in 2010 to 33% by 2015. With 33% share of jobs in the skilled category, we are on track towards achieving the developed countries' proportion of skilled labor, which is about 39% of the total workforce. It is estimated that about 1.3 million tertiary graduates to come on stream over the next 5 years. This will meet the expected demand of about 1 million skilled jobs. However, it should be noted that although the number of tertiary graduates can sufficiently meet the demands of skilled workforce, the quality of this workforce still remains a concern. So this is an important issue that we need to address to make our workforce competitive, the local workforce competitive. Because companies who come here will want productivity, are going for the profit and loss, they look into their books, they want to see who can perform. In that sense, the globalization process has made human capital mobile across borders. We cannot stop because we are treaty to FTAs, bilateral agreements, multilateral agreements. So in this context, these movements cannot be curtailed in the name of nationalism. To a certain level, yes, but in this process we need to create the quality so that people who come here to invest will make sure they will pick up our locals to be employed. So we must have the employability value that we need to put to this workforce. Ladies and gentlemen, the need to continue improving the quality of workforce is still an issue, as a shortage of high quality workforce remains a major investment constraint for our country. Furthermore, the lack of quality workforce has impacted growth in labour productivity and real wage, especially when compared to our regional peers. You know now, you roughly know, I think Dixon was actually telling me a few things about Singapore and Brunei. Quite interesting. Are you going to speak about that later, sir? It's quite interesting finding. Therefore, we have developed a comprehensive set of human capital initiatives in order to strengthen talent base in the country. The initiatives will address the end-to-end development of human capital, starting from early pre-education up to retirement of second career. So if you see the NKRA, the National Key Result Areas, preschool, 700,000 new young children are going to school now in preschool. Within 1 year, 700,000. Number two, ranking of schools. Schools are ranked not because they produce 10A students, they will be ranked according to how many failures are there in the school. So the perspectives have changed. The pedagogy in schools are being reformed, teaching and learning processes, environment, isoticization, So there's going to be a total revamp out of the education system. Marketability, even the tertiary education will be reformed according to market trends. The Human Resource Ministry is working very closely with the Higher Education Ministry and the Education Ministry to make sure such reforms are relevant to the future. The government is also in the process of reviewing the labour laws to keep them in line with the current needs of business viability and worker protection. If you see the strategic reform initiatives, SRI, if the NKRA and NKEA are the vehicles to drive the economy, the stumbling blocks that stop this car from moving will be reviewed as the SRIs, the strategic reform initiatives. So what? The regulatory framework, the legislative framework, the bureaucratic framework will all be reviewed, aid specifically to make sure this smooth sailing will take the country to the top. In terms of migration of workers, Malaysia is unique as it's both a receiving and sending country. Since 2022, the number of foreigners coming to work in this country, including expatriates, is almost the same as the number of Malaysians seeking employment abroad. However, most of the Malaysian diaspora are from the higher skill bracket who are living outside, as compared to the inflow of lower skilled foreign workers in Malaysia. And what is worrying is the skilled labourers who are coming in are becoming business people now. They pick up skills and they become business people. So, because this country is very rich, you've got a lot of opportunities actually if you're hardworking. So this is our concern, the inflow of unskilled labour, the outflow of skilled labour. So this will be a disparity that we have to handle. As the need for higher skilled workers has increased over the years, several efforts have been undertaken by the government since 1995 to attract Malaysian diaspora. To further strengthen existing efforts, Talent Corporation was established this year to attract, motivate and retain talent, including foreigners. We had 3 ministries who were actually looking at foreign workforce and our workforce overseas. Now it is all being brought together under the Talent Corp, under the purview of the Prime Minister, to look into mechanisms that can improve the situation. In collaborations with key agencies, they are all represented here today. Several incentives have been introduced by Talent Corporation, such as the bond transfer program for public service department scholars, flat income tax rate of 15% for returning Malaysian professionals for the first 5 years, and the introduction of resident pass, which keeps the foreigner here for a longer period of stay. Now there are work permits, which is 2 years, 3 years. Now you go 5 + 5, so you can move on. And they don't have to remain under one employer. They are mobile, they can get employed anywhere. With these measures in place, the brain drain issue is expected to be addressed and consequently support the requirement for a high skilled workforce in order to achieve. Come Dato. She is very important to EPU, my director, Kendall. She, I think, is attending 4 programs today from morning, non-stop. Yeah. I thank her for being here. Coming back to this, to achieve Malaysia's goal in becoming a high income and advanced economy by the year 2020, we are very much dire need of this higher skilled workforce. The publication of the Malaysian Economic Monitor, MEM, is timely as it provides useful information regarding the whereabouts and the profile of Malaysian diaspora. I would like to thank the World Bank and its initiative to have this chapter here and give us support. I see that each of the initiatives they've done, reports every 6 months, has been very good. Innovation, inclusiveness, repositioning, and now you're looking at brain drain. And these are things that help the EPU as a planning agency, holistic macro planning agencies, and it will be an important tool for our decision making. Thank you very much again to the officers who are here. Thus, the MEM findings can serve as an input for policy making in relations to human capital. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to inform that the Department of Statistics Malaysia has compiled a capital stock statistics for the first time in the period 1955 to 2009. So, with this newly compiled data, we are now able to identify the potential broad sectors to focus our investment efforts. In addition, better estimates of potential output growth can now be calculated and allow us to see how far we can push the economy. As capital stock also represents the wealth of the nation, it is very comforting to note that Malaysians' wealth has increased about tenfold from 12.9 billion ringgit Malaysia in 1970 to ringgit Malaysia 1.38 trillion in 2009. With this, I am pleased to announce that capital stock statistics is available. The Minister will be here to launch it later. We hope that our Tan Sri will be here to be with us. In concluding, before I conclude, thank you very much for your presence here, and thank you again to Ms. Anna Dixon and Mr. Phillips. Please continue supporting us. We need all the support. And Malaysia is poised to become an important player in this region. And for that, we need a very strong political stability process with view of what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening everywhere in Africa. And this country is very, very steady. The PM has put forward a fantastic transformation plan, and let's give him the opportunity to realize that. If we are looking at the future generation, everything is in place. It's very easy to formulate, but so difficult to implement. And we need all your support to build this nation. This nation, of course, with World Bank with us. This morning we were together with the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, helping us in a different frontier. With these institutions throughout the world helping, let's have a better future for this nation and this region and partners of development in the developing nations. And that is the whole concept of growth globally. And with that, I'd like to thank all those people who are here, as well as the ministries and the agencies that have given their cooperation towards this publication. I am very glad to launch this Malaysian Economic Monitor Brain Drain. The name doesn't sound nice. Drain, no? So let's take out the drain and put something else. Thank you very much. God bless. Have a good day.
We would like to welcome back onto stage Ms. Annette Dixon and Yang Berbahagia Datuk Nuriyah Ahmad for the official launch of the 2011 Malaysia Economic Monitor Brain Drain.
Yes.
Mr. Phillips, please. It gives us a great pleasure to now invite Ms. Annette Dixon to present a copy of the report to Yang Berhormat Datuk SK Debamani for graciously launching this report in Malaysia. With these, ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to note that the 2011 Malaysia Economic Monitor Brain Drain is now officially launched in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.